I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. You know, like everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. You know,
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
right now, no, how?
Yeah, he's
And
right, dude. He's right.
How? You know,
You would-
like he fought in one division. You know,
Never unified the belts.
He unified.
Did you?
You know,
Yeah.
he unified.
When Thomas Spud Crawford said he was better than Errol Spence Jr., and the boxing world thought he was joking until he put on one of the best welterweight fights ever. Now Spence wants revenge, and their rematch is set to be the co-main event of the next Canelo-Alvarez card, which is making boxing fans feel like they've seen this fight before.
Nah, he's nice as hell, but you know, I'm at the point of my career. The money right, I'll fight anybody. So
But this time, there's even more at stake. Crawford doesn't just want to beat Spence again, he wants to beat Canelo and become great, but isn't here to play nice, as shown by the way he snapped at Spence in their most recent interview.
Terence Crawford, we'll start here, reportedly offers Spence the rematch at 147 and not 154. This has got people up in arms because you have the Spence contingent who says, you know what, our guy Spence made concessions to get this fight done. He gave up a lot of money on his side to have this fight at 147. If you look at the contract, this is a sport of contracts. Chris, you know this. You have signed contracts. You have tried to get out of contracts. The winner gets to dictate the weight. The loser got to put the rematch clause or put the rematch into place.
If Crawford wants to fight at 47, that means he doesn't want the fight. He's looking for bigger fish. He already got the big fish. Now he's looking for the bigger fish. He's looking for the big money. There could be potential fights with a Canelo. And as big as the money is for the Spence rematch, it's nothing like Canelo money. So he might be looking for something bigger. Could be Jamel Charlo, which is going to be bigger money than Spence.
Let's break it down. Crawford versus Spence in July 2023 was more than just a fight. It was a watershed moment in boxing history.
You're gonna have a fish fry come Saturday. Man, you gotta calm down, brother. Cause listen, man, things can get real sticky real quick, and then everybody would say, this is what we do every time we come out. This is what we do when we come out. Social media, my ass. Bro, listen, just like you talking, just like you doing all that talking, bro, it can turn deadly real quick. But on both sides, so why not support, listen, why not support your fighter? Support your fighter. You ain't got nothing wrong with that. Support your fighter. Y'all support y'all fighter. Let's come together, make this event a success. Instead of everybody saying every time we get together, you know what I mean, it's always shooting and violence. Everybody know T. Crawford. Y'all know I get active.
Terence Crawford did not simply beat Spence. He decimated him, from the second round knockdown to the surgical perfection of every jab, hook, and counter, but showed that he was not only the best welterweight alive, but also one of the greatest of his time.
Sharp jab, fast, explosive jab to the head and the body. A combination. That's what Errol Spence for the first time in his career. Found on his unofficial score. And again. Joseph Spence thought he landed a shot. He got down for the city with all the flavor. Ball like a Cuban chorus annihilated. Black excellence, we go past to the negative, boy. And it's not just the jab, the uppercut, and the counter, right hook, from left to right, Errol Spence.
Since then, the two have kept their distance, but the tension remains.
Let down, like I told everybody once before. The winner out of this fight was gonna be #1 pound for pound, hands down. You got Errol Spence was ranked #4 in the pound for pound, and you got Terence Crawford that was ranked #1. So you got two fighters that's in the top 5 pound for pound ratings. How can they not be #1 pound for pound?
Let's fast forward to now. The rematch has officially been set, and it will take place on the undercard of Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull.
It's up to him. He gave me that opportunity to fight him. It's only right that if that's what he want to do, I'll give it back to him. Outside of him, I was definitely looking for that Jamel Charlo fight. but they just stripped him for the WBO. So now it's going to be kind of hard, you know, becoming a 3-weight world champion if he don't come back and, you know, fight Tim Tszyu and be successful after his fight with Canelo.
That's true. But and Spence, 2 pound-for-pound champs, will fight on the same night in the same arena on the same show. It may be taking place beneath the main event, but let's be honest, that is the fight everyone is watching, because if Crawford wins again, and impressively, the next bout will write itself. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo fans, please pray for Canelo. He's about to fight William Skull in Saudi. Pray for Canelo, bro. Pray for Canelo, bro.
Bro, but don't you get it? Canelo will never lose because Turkey needs him to win.
Yeah, he's not gonna lose.
There's no way Turkey gets his Crawford fight if Canelo loses, so that's not happening.
It's a deeper, darker criminal link. I don't trust it. Pray for Canelo, man. Turkey might say, yeah, you was talking all that shit when I was first trying to get you. Now look what we gonna do for you. We got you in Riyadh. Let's get that L up off you. And you still gotta fight Crawford.
Crawford is not simply fighting Spence for bragging rights. He is trying to force the world's hand.
I think Canelo's gonna put the beats on him like Dr. Dre.
Do we get a knockdown from Canelo, or does Bud knock down Canelo?
Nah, Canelo's not going down. You could hit Canelo with a Louisville slugger. He's just gonna smile at you.
They ain't say gonna beat him like the beats of Dr. Dre.
Yeah, he's gonna put the beats on him like Dre.
But why? Because the Crawford fans are like, bro, we not standing in front of Canelo like Jamel and Berlanga. We not gonna be there to get hit.
Size matters when it's implemented, right? When the fighter can use the size correctly, it matters. Now people say, well, Crawford has longer reach. They're the same height. I don't mean body mass, right? We say, look, Mike Tyson was 5'10", but a solid 225. Canelo is a similar kind of pit bull frame. He can't get hurt. Crawford is jumping up 3 weight classes, 2 now. Didn't look great at 54. Didn't look powerful at 54. How's he gonna look at 68 against a man who has a chin made of certified titanium?
He's made it plain that if Canelo continues to avoid him, he'll make sure no one can ignore him any longer.
I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out. From Kirkland to Amir Khan to just... Obviously,
I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not.
Kovalev was older. He does.
Billy Joe.
Don't get me wrong. He does have a lot of power, but all those guys that you name is not as skillful as me. I'm sorry. No disrespect to none of those fighters. The skill level is not there.
So how do you see a fight with Canelo?
Tough fight. Canelo is a great fighter. Like, I always had respect for Canelo, but I just believe in my skills. The fact that people doubt me, it just fueled me even more. Try to get the fight even more. And I'm watching him, I'm like, man, I can beat this dude. I've been fighting people bigger than me all my life, and I always came out on top. You gonna get hit. It's a fight. He gonna get hit too. It'll be good.
I can't go down anymore. But you know, like he say, you know, when they ask him for the Germonta fight, they don't wanna get credit for that fight. It's the same for me. I don't need to take that fight because everybody's gonna say it's too small, it's too small, it's too small, and then, you know, he needs to enjoy his fight. Okay, he deserves it. He deserves it. I like Spence, but you know, I like Spence and all the respect for him and everything. But I knew. I think is the type of fight Terence Crawford is fighter is different. 168, but like I say, like he say, nobody's gonna give me credit for that.
Thank you very much.
And what better way to attract Canelo's attention than to smash Spence again on the very same night he enters the ring? When you say you want Canelo, does anyone in the camp say, you're not ready for this? He's a big bull, he's strong. It's a conversation, not just, oh man, you'll whoop his ass. Yes, man, type something. I am not worried about Canelo. I am not thinking about Canelo. I am simply focused on Israel Madrimov. Is this a little step towards your dream fight? I don't see fights as stepping stones, they're happening right now. That's why this rematch is more than simply another title defense. It's a message. Crawford wants to go down in history, and he knows that beating Spence again effectively puts him right at Canelo's front door. I mean, it could happen, and why shouldn't Crawford push himself to be great? I'll be rooting for him if he faces Canelo. I'm not sure if he'll win or lose, but I'll surely be there. Crawford, I think if anybody can pull it off, He can pull it off. He's wanting greatness. So why not? Canelo got up to 175 and all that and battled over and fought the other guy too. So if he can do it, he started at what, 147. So if he can do it, why can't Crawford do it? Let's not forget Errol Spence isn't some washed-up fighter. He was undefeated before the first fight. He unified the division. He's one of the most dangerous body punchers in the game. And most importantly, he hasn't forgotten the anguish of that first loss. Terence went on the pound-for-pound show and he said that Errol Spence will not be a Hall of Famer. Can you just give me your ideas on that? I disagree because I feel as though Errol had a great career. If it wasn't for but he would have been undisputed, so he went and got every belt. One by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Errol's been quiet lately, but don't let that fool you. He's been training like a man possessed because if there's on the world, I feel like we haven't seen or heard from him since the Bud fight. Like publicly, you know, interviews and all that. Tell me, do you feel happy while you're chatting with him? Do you think he still has that fighting spirit? So, is EJ still EJ? Yes, EJ is still EJ. You know, EJ is just living his life. You know, he's chilling. He has been fighting for a long time. You know, EJ is scary. EJ is barely in the country. Guy. EJ's live ID. It's getting crazy right now. Man. He spends his steps, and you better know he'll bring everything he's got to this fight. There is no longer place for excuses, no car accident, no layoff, no weight loss talks. This is Spence's last chance to redeem himself, and he knows that if he is stopped again, his elite future may be gone. This isn't simply a fight, this is true beef. Crawford and Spence had been grappling for years, before they entered the ring. From Twitter fingers to face-offs, these two have never liked one another. But since Crawford caused Spence stumble and bleed on national television, their hatred has grown even more intense. They say Crawford is a hell of a fighter, but I don't really respect his record. Crawford, what else do you do outside fighting? Do you understand what I am saying? Man, I don't really respect his reputation when it comes to me. Hey. Hold on. Sean was up against Spence. Sean was up and doing his thing against Crawford. Quit listening to his father. Yes. You understand what I mean, hee. That's why when Crawford snapped during their most recent face-to-face interview, wasn't for show, it was real. All eyes are on Canelo Alvarez right now. Fans have been begging for a Bud versus Canelo fight, especially after Crawford ran through Spence the way he did. My good friend, my brother Terence, Crawford wants to fight Canelo. Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring. I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence. What I'm saying is that's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can beat anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know Crawford is a legend, bro. Yeah, you know and like I said, you can't count them out. And let's be honest, Canelo hasn't been facing top names lately. William Skull, no shade, but that's not the fight anyone wanted. Tell me your take on Canelo versus William Skull, which just went official. I don't know what's going to happen, but William Skull is not nothing. It's for the IBF belt. Yes, it's the IBF winner. But you know William. I don't know William Skull, but let me get your view on the Canelo-Crawford fight that apparently is going to be made for September. It would be a good fight, but I think the difference is to classes and the weight class, and I think it's a dangerous fight for Canelo to win by knockout. Or maybe yes, Canelo wins by knockout. Okay. And one more question. There's been a big thing that Jake Paul was calling out Canelo and the fight got scrapped. Canelo is not a good boxer. It is not great. It is not advisable to fight for Canelo since he needs another formidable opponent. Okay. Hello bro. Okay, I'm Ellie Seekback. Ellie Seekback works for snewsreporting.com. I'm Ellie Seekback of newreporting.com. I'm Melissa reporting. Everyone knows, but is the true task, the real fight and the genuine smoke. Well, first and foremost, I give Crawford all the credit in the world for even considering fighting Canelo, but if that fight ever happens, I have Crawford 1000%. And people will say, oh, well, you're contradicting yourself. I kind of am. But Crawford is also a big man. Crawford is a big guy who can take on Canelo since they are the same size. Crawford punches strongly, but he doesn't rely on his power. He focuses on his footwork, speed, change-ups, combinations, and mind. and I believe Crawford is a far better boxer than Canelo, and with Bud and Canelo fighting on the same night in the same building, there is no more hiding. Many think Crawford can easily defeat Canelo. I respect that, but I think they are stupid. Please excuse my words. The size differential of a larger man alters everything with one punch, and I can notice the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fight an American, now look at Terence. Crawford went from 47 to 54 to fight Madre. What has he done to Madam? Nothing. A lot, okay. Mid-major weighs 54 pounds now. Moving up to 168 needs to additional divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I doubt Crawford will take any hits from Canelo. Remember, Canelo was hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that class, yet he handled the shots like a champ. Crawford lacks the ability to beat Canelo. If Crawford crushes Spence again, Canelo will be under great pressure to take the fight because it is no longer about belts. It is about legacy. Bud versus Nell is a 50-50 it's about based on the previous fight. Therefore Canelo meets an undisputed champion, an up-and-coming former champion, and an up-and-coming unbeaten contender. And those three opponents are somehow compared to Bud's Madre fight, making it a 50-50 it's fight. Bud wants to do something only legends dream of. Leap divisions and beat the unquestioned champ at 168. When people say Terence Crawford or Canelo Alfred, we always talk up the weight class, but that's not my thing. This is the main thing that comes to mind when I think of that matchup. Terence Crawford has never met someone like him. You don't understand the significance of that statement. To beat Canelo, you have to be great first. Triple G, Floyd Bibles, you need to be great because Canelo is amazing. Canelo is a big tank guy, which is why he's so great. He has great head movement, speed, accuracy, heart, guts, and chin. He's fantastic. He owns the X factor that only the best have. He fights more regularly than CrossFit, at least twice a year, and he never stops fighting. He fights through knee and wrist problems. It doesn't matter if you're 6 feet something, 5 feet 11, or 5. He's amazing. While everyone is worried about Bud versus Canelo, one more name keeps popping up. Gervonta Tank Davis. How can you lead without ego? For example, if you hear someone like Tank say 147, I knock Bud out, well, he's just talking, you know, he's got the confidence in himself that he believed that he can do that because he's been knocking out all these fighters that he's been in the ring with, you know, so no knock to Tank, but there's definitely levels, you know, and if he comes up to 147 and he's thinking he's just going to knock Terence Crawford out, he's got another thing coming. So that's the fight you would make happen. If he wanted to come up to, yeah, I'll stay at 147 for him, that's a big money fight. That's a big fight. Yeah, it's a big money fight, you know, so Spence, but then what everybody gonna say? He was too small. Yeah, we know the weight difference is wild. Tank's down at lightweight, while Bud's playing with the big bows at welterweight and above, but that hasn't stopped the beef. If we was to fight right now in the streets, I'll break your neck, and that's on my kids, and you know it, I know it. And the whole world know it. And I'm not talking about no fighting in the ring. If me and you was to fight outside, I would break your neck. Bud and Tank have not been quiet about each other, from Instagram left shots to cryptic tweets. There's been a whole lot of tension brewing, and while a fight might not happen tomorrow, ever say never. When people what I got from that is he's a hater. You don't know me as a person. Let's say you don't like me, you don't know me like you feel me, and I don't give a hint. Everybody could I may win. Tank pressure for you. Proud father. If Crawford truly wants to be known as the face of boxing, and Tank continues to knock heads off at 135 and 140, a clash is inevitable. Even if it was a catchweight fight, Tank would never even consider going up to 154. Alright, what about 47 though? Yes, if he gets to pick his opponent. But Tank would never come from 35 to 50. For y'all got into it on social media around that time. Is that just you being competitive like when that happens, or is it like I just really don't like that dude? Why though? Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. That's just not your cup of tea. That's just not. I don't like nothing about him. I just felt like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little, yeah, he's a really good fighter. But Bud versus Tank would be big in terms of basic attitude and style. The battle that shuts down the internet is power versus precision, star power versus pure skill. How do you feel about that fight? Is it even possible at a catchweight? Ain't no catchweight. You come up to 47, not even entertaining a catchweight. No, I'm not. He's a champ though, to undefeated. What champ? Come on man, tell me what belt you know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney. Undisputed Devin Haney got all the belts, he the champ, nobody else the winner. I'm going to come up here where the big boys at. Alright, I welcome them, but let's be real, for that to happen, this rematch between Crawford and Spence isn't simply a rehash of last year's landslide. It's the key to opening the future of boxing. Crawford knows what's at stake if he wins again, especially in dominant form. The guy who ran through Spence twice and stood in the ring while Canelo walked to is that kind of energy forces promoters. It gets the fans screaming, it makes money. But if Spence pulls the upset, the entire division flips upside down. It would set up a trilogy, a third fight, the biggest rubber match in years. I was stunned like everyone else. I mean, look, I picked Crawford to win. I said it on here on the belt list to win either by decision or late stoppage. Obviously got the late. Spence had never been knocked down, and he knocked him down 3 times. It appeared to Nick that once he knocked him down, he was in charge, and he could have knocked him out at any point. I'm not saying he certainly carried him. Is he looking to beat you more and make it more impressive? But it appeared that he was really comfortable and cool, which is smart because you don't want to get caught with anything. But it just seemed like he wanted to punish him, which he did. So that's all for today's video. If you loved it, please leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell symbol so you don't miss any future videos, and don't forget to share your ideas in the comments. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next film.